Hello everybody, Pokemon Trainer Rob here, and welcome back to more of the Pokemon Emerald Extra videos. And today is finally the day, as we are heading off to the Battle Frontier. The Battle Frontier, also known as the Battle Resort, is a post-game section of Pokemon Emerald that was actually not featured in Ruby or Sapphire. If I had to compare it to something though, it's kind of similar to the Pokemon Crystal Battle Tower, which actually is in Ruby and Sapphire too, but the Battle Frontier is pretty much an extension of it, featuring an establishment like it, along with a couple of others. Everything you do in the Battle Frontier is pretty much optional, considering you have to beat the game in order to access it, and it's not like you get any major rewards for doing this either. It's basically just a way to extend gameplay and further develop your Pokemon teams if you so choose. As a result, and as I've warned in numerous videos before this one, don't expect this to be a comprehensive guide to everything in the Battle Frontier. I'll show it off, go over all the features and battle styles, some of the items and Pokemon you can get there, and do some general attempts of all the challenges that are featured in the Battle Frontier. Believe it or not, some of the additional content can be pretty difficult, and some of the challenge can go beyond just having the right Pokemon and movesets. Sometimes even stats and natures can play a big factor too, and I just really don't have the time to dedicate to that level of perfection. Just saying. Also, if you couldn't tell from the commentary, yes, this is also going to be post-commentary. I'm sorry if this cheapens the experience a little bit, but after doing a couple of normal recordings in the style of how I normally record these Pokemon playthroughs, there's just a lot to unpack here, and I don't want these videos to be incredibly long. Especially considering that if I did this as I normally would, it'd be an hour of footage before we even got to our first battle challenge. So I'm just going to summarize what you can do and find in this video, and then we'll start with the first battle establishment next time, and probably just dedicate one video to each establishment. Maybe even two challenges in one if the editing leaves us short in any one realm. So here's how you set up the Battle Frontier. Once you beat the game and resume playing after Elite Four, you'll eventually be given a ticket to the SS title. This ship can be found in either Lily Cove or Slate Port, and you can come aboard the ship in either port. Once on board, you will run into Scott, who will basically invite you to the frontier himself, but it's worth mentioning that this ship does not actually go straight there, rather to the other port I mentioned before. This means you have to ride the ship once, and once that trip is over, you'll have the option to go to the resort the next time you try to set sail. There are a few things worth mentioning though as you're riding the SS title. First, you can run into your old friends, Mr. Briny and Pico, who are now honorary captains of this boat and remain here the rest of the game, which is kinda nice. You can also find TM49 if you talk to the passenger in the top right cabin, which contains the move Snatch, as well as a hidden leftovers item if you search the trash cans in the basement. And of course, like the SS Anne and the SS Aqua before, you can face trainers on board the ship as well. But as you might expect, due to our current levels, you will not really fight anything threatening. Honestly, the biggest threat here was probably the trainer with two level 44 Manectric, and that's only because they could paralyze us. And we literally have Pokemon that are 31 levels higher, so even then, this is not going to be challenging. When you are done fighting and have done everything worth your time on the boat, go to the empty room on the ship and take a sleep in your bed to progress the journey and heal your Pokemon as well. Once your journey is over, you can jump back into the boat and go to the Battle Frontier. The Battle Frontier Resort itself is actually a pretty big area, rivaling the land area of even Lily Cove City, so a first-timer might be a little overwhelmed by all the stuff you could possibly do here and all the different NPCs you can talk to. Most of the NPCs here though, like the rest of the game, is just flavor text and nothing that will really be super memorable, so that could potentially save you some time if you don't really want to commit to that, but it's there for those dedicated lore enthusiasts. The first building you get to is the Information Building, which can give you a lot of information about the different buildings and rule sets that you'll be dealing with here at the Battle Frontier. I'll go over some of the details a bit later, but for now, I want to focus on some of the things you can immediately do here at this new area. First and foremost, for you Pokemon collectors, there are a few Pokemon that can be collected here at the Battle Frontier, but not a substantial amount either. If you go to the small building right here, you can find an NPC who is willing to trade you a Meowth in exchange for a Skitty. A cat for a cat trade, I guess you could say. Meowth cannot be gotten anywhere else in the game, so this is technically the only place you can find it. If you head to the southeast section of the map, you should see a tree that should look familiar if you've played Pokemon Gold, Silver, or Crystal. And if you use your Wailmer Pail on it, you can fight the Pokemon Sudowoodo, and potentially add it to your Pokedex as well. Just be warned, because as you might expect, this is your only chance to catch it, so save beforehand if it somehow eludes capture. If you follow the water route after the Sudowoodo and go down the waterfall, you'll eventually run into a cave known as the Artisan Cave. This cave has only one encounter in the form of Smeargle, another Pokemon from the second generation. Also, you can find one copy of each stat-up item in this cave as well, although be warned because some of the items are hidden. But yeah, aside from those 3 Pokemon, 4 if you include involving Meowth the Persian, that's all you can get here. And that's actually it, so let's move on to the battle arenas. There are 7 different battle arenas here at the Battle Frontier. The Battle Tower, the Battle Dome, the Battle Factory, the Battle Pike, the Battle Arena, the Battle Palace, and the Battle Pyramid. These are pretty much the gyms of the Battle Frontier, where upon continuous success at each of these establishments, you have a chance to win a badge or symbol for its technical name. However, instead of each establishment having one specific type of Pokemon, it's more like each establishment has their own sets of rules and battle styles, which makes the fights a little more unpredictable and the Pokemon possibilities more open-ended. Upon each successful round of these events, you will also win battle points, also known as BP. BP can be used as a form of currency throughout your time here at the Battle Frontier, allowing you to purchase a variety of things at the exchange corner, as well as use of the designated move tutors that are on the island as well. For this playthrough, since I'm pretty much done with all I want to accomplish with the game, and don't have too much else I want to aim for as far as the Battle Frontier is concerned, I'm going to at the very least aim for obtaining each of the 7 symbols you can win here at the 7 establishments. I will also make an effort to obtain the gold symbols as well, which are basically just visual upgrades to the symbols in general. But if I am unable to achieve them and my run ends up being cut short, I'm not going to worry about it and will stop the attempts there. Getting the gold symbols basically means you're not only facing harder opponents, but also keeping a win streak going for a ridiculously long period of time. And if that streak ends, you have to start from the very beginning, and I'm not about to devote hours and hours to this game as a result when I don't even know if I have a solid team for what I'm trying to accomplish here. Plus, since so much of this is bonus content anyway, I don't really feel like I have anything to prove, if I'm being perfectly honest with you guys. Kudos to those who not only have the time to devote to this, but to those who have found success here, because this stuff can be incredibly difficult, and a good run can easily end in a matter of seconds if RNG is not on your side. My first video will be dedicated to the Battle Dome, and I'll go over each building as well as their rules and stipulations in each of their respective videos. But as a general rule of thumb, here are the general restrictions for the establishments. No 2 Pokemon may hold the same item, and items may not be used from the item bag during battle, except in the Battle Pyramid, but that has its own item system in play. Prize money and EXP will not be gained from any battle. Kyogre, Groudon, Rayquaza, Jirachi, Deoxys Speed Form, Mewtwo, Mew, Lugia, Ho-Oh, Celebi, and a Pokemon Egg cannot be used for any of these events as well. As far as level cap is concerned, there are actually 2 different level classes. First up, there's the level 50 class, where all Pokemon up to level 50 can be used, and your opponents will always have level 50 Pokemon. The second class is the level 51 through 100 class, where any Pokemon of that level range can be used, and your opponents will have level Pokemon of the same level as your highest level Pokemon. Most institutions also have the option of either doing single or double battles as well, but there are a few exceptions, once again based on what tournament you are competing in. Once you've made your selections, you start your challenge, and you continue it until you complete the round in question. You know you've completed a round when you get a BP as a reward, and it adds a victory to your win streak. You can then take on the challenge again and again so you can earn more BP, and your eventual symbol if you manage to come face to face with one of the Frontier Brains. However, most of the brains won't show up until you have earned a dedicated win streak. And if your streak ends early, you will have to start from square one again, so keep that in mind if you plan to take on this challenge. Now, let's talk about BP and what you can do with it. First off, if you visit this house, you'll find Scott, who will give you rewards based on how far you progress through the battle frontier. Plus, upon your first visit, he will give you some BP based on how many times you found and talked to him throughout your adventure. In the building south of the pyramid, you will find a bunch of people placing bets on Battle Frontier challengers. After earning 3 silver symbols, if you talk to these guys, one of them will ask you to compete in any specific Battle Frontier challenge, which will change daily, and if you chip in some of your own BP and succeed in that challenge, you will actually get double the amount that you chipped in back. Of course, if you lose, you will lose all that BP that you wagered. Behind the Pokémon Center, although not BP related, you can find an old man who will judge the stats of your Pokémon and analyze your Pokémon's IV values. If you pay attention to this stuff, you are probably aware of what this will mean already, but if not, it's additional trivia and knowledge for your Pokémon, I suppose. Now let's get to the BP rewards and prizes. First up, you can find a pair of move tutors southwest of the Battle Dome. Here, you can teach the following moves to your Pokémon, if they can learn them, of course. Soft Boiled and Defense Curl for 16 BP, Seismic Toss, Dream Eater, Mega Punch, Snore, Mud Slap, Swift, and Icy Wind for 24 BP, and Mega Kick, Body Slam, Rock Slide, Counter, Thunder Wave, Swords Dance, Endure, Psych Up, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, and Fire Punch for 48 BP. Then, at the exchange corner, you can trade your BP for secret base items, vitamins, and some interesting hold items, including Leftovers, White Herb, Quick Claw, and Mental Herb for 48 BP, and Bright Powder, Choice Band, King's Rock, Focus Band, and Scope Lens for 64 BP. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff you can find here, and potentially some items and moves that can improve the performance of your team or other Pokemon if you're interested. Finally, there's also a records hall which will basically feature all of your high scores in all the facilities you take part in. And, well, that's really about it. So with that, that's all I'm going to get into for this video, so stay tuned for the next video when we actually start working through the Battle Frontier, starting with the Battle Dome. I hope you guys enjoyed this informative video, and I will see you guys next time for the first Battle Frontier challenge. Later, folks.